it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have a book outlet haul for you, so stay tuned. So I've determined that I just don't have enough books in my life, so I've ordered some more books from Book Outlet. Who would have guessed? So I'm just gonna get right into this box. I already have it opened up. I haven't pulled out the paper yet, so paper. Got my receipt here. All right. Okay, so the first book in this box is a book that one of you actually recommended to me, and that is A Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. And if I remember correctly, this is a Peter Pan retelling, because I think Tiger Lily was the Indian princess, I believe, in that book. This is a very floppy book. Oh, I could just tell from holding it was going to be floppy. Oh, I love it. Love a good floppy book. Why are they so much fun? Okay. This says, before Neverland faded into myth, it was a remote and dangerous island filled with deadly mermaids, psychotic pirates, and watchful fairies. And before Peter Pan belonged to Wendy, he belonged to the girl with the crow feather in her hair, Tiger Lily. Aww. When 15-year-old Tiger Lily meets the alluring teenage Peter deep in the Forbidden Woods, the two form a bond that's impossible to break, but also impossible to hold on to. As the leader of the Lost Boys and the most fearsome of Neverland's inhabitants, Peter is an unthinkable match for Tiger Lily. With her betrothal to another man and deadly enemies threatening to tear them apart, the lovers seem doomed. But it's the arrival of Wendy Darling, an English girl who's everything Tiger Lily is not, that leads Tiger Lily to discover that the most dangerous enemies lurk inside even the most loyal and loving heart. I love a good retelling. Let's see, there's some blurbs here. We've got Kirkus Reviews says, guided by fragile insect-sized fairy Tink, readers are drawn into this richly reimagined Neverland. BCCB says, serious and moving. And Alex Finn, New York Times bestselling author of Beastly, says Tiger Lily is a captivating tale by turns exciting and enchanting. And it's floppy. Okay. And this was $4.29. Okay, next up is the first two books in the Fire and Thorns trilogy by Ray Carson. And that is The Girl of Fire and Thorns and The Crown of Embers. Aren't these so pretty? And they're also, even though they're thicker, they're also very floppy paperbacks. Oh, love it. So much fun. Okay. These actually got a little bit banged up, but they're not bad. Just a little. Surprised they weren't scratch and dent though, because they are a little beat up. Oh well. So, The Girl of Fire and Thorns is the first book, and it says, once a century, one person is chosen for greatness. Eliza has always felt powerless, useless. Now on her 16th birthday, she has become the secret wife of a handsome and worldly king. A king who needs her to be the chosen one, not a failure of a princess. And he's not the only one who seeks her. Savage enemies, seething with dark magic, are hunting her. A daring, determined revolutionary thinks she could save his people. And he looks at her in a way no man has ever looked at her before. Eliza could be everything to those who need her most. If the prophecy is fulfilled, if she finds the power deep within herself, if she doesn't die young, most of the chosen do. And there's some great blurbs on the back of here as well. Veronica Roth, author of Divergent, says, intense, unique, definitely recommended. Cinda Williams Chima, author of the best-selling Seven Realms series, says, I love this book. And Locust Magazine says, Carson joins the ranks of writers like Kristen Cashore, Megan Whalen Turner, and Tamora Pierce as one of YA's best writers of high fantasy. This one was $4.29. And this one was also $4.29. Okay, next up we have My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Warga. And this is about a 16-year-old girl named Azel who is kind of obsessed with planning her own death. She has a mother who will barely look at her. Her classmates whisper about her behind her back. And her father has committed some very violent crime. And, well, she just wants to die. And then she finds this website where you can find a suicide partner. And she partners up with this guy named Roman. And as they kind of go along and they're planning things and whatever, they start to form a connection. And they start kind of mending each other. But as time goes on, their suicide pact becomes more and more real. And now Azel has to decide if she would rather die or she would rather convince Roman to live and see if something more can come of this. So that is what this is about. And this was $3.19. Okay, next up is The Distance Between Us by Casey West. And this says, money can't buy a good first impression. 17-year-old Gaiman Myers learned early that the rich are not to be trusted. And after years of studying them from behind the cash register of her mom's porcelain doll shop, she has seen nothing to prove otherwise. Enter Xander Spence. He's tall, handsome, and oozing rich. Despite his charming ways and the fact that he seems to be one of the first people who actually gets her, she's smart enough to know his interest won't last. Because if there's one thing she's learned from her mother's warnings, it's that the rich have a short attention span. But just when Xander's loyalties and attentiveness are about to convince Gaiman that being rich isn't a character flaw, she finds out that money is a much bigger part of their relationship than she ever realized. With so many obstacles standing in their way, can she close the distance between them? And it sounded light, cute, fluffy, contemporary. Plus the fact that one of the characters is named Xander. And also funny that it talks about his attention span, because my Xander has a very short attention span. I thought that was funny. And this was $4.29. Sorry if there is an angle change. My battery died. Okay, next up is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. And this says, it takes a graveyard to raise a child. Nobody Owens, known as Bod, is a normal boy. He would be completely normal if he didn't live in a graveyard, being raised by ghosts with a guardian who belongs to neither the world of the living nor the dead. There are adventures in the graveyard for a boy. An ancient indigo man, a gateway to the abandoned city of ghouls, the strange and terrible Sleer. But if Bod leaves the graveyard, he will be in danger from the man Jack, who has already killed Bod's family. So there's some blurbs on the back here. One from New York Times Book Review says, the Graveyard Book, by turns exciting and witty, sinister and tender, shows Gaiman at the top of his form. In this novel of wonder, Neil Gaiman follows in the footsteps of long-ago storytellers, wheeling a tale of unforgettable enchantment. Washington Post says, like a bite of dark Halloween chocolate, this novel proves rich, bittersweet, and very satisfying. And Kirkus Review says, wistful, witty, wise, and creepy. This needs to be read by anyone who is or has ever been a child. And there's illustrations throughout it as well. So that's cool. I think this is something that Xander will probably get into. So this will probably be something we read together. And this was $4.29. Okay, next up is Pivot Point by Casey West, and it says, one girl, two fates, one choice. And this is about a girl named Addison Coleman who is a searcher, which means she can look into the future and see what the future would be like for each choice she would make. So you would think that that would make things easier. But then one day her parents tell her that they're getting a divorce, and they ask her which person she wants to live with. And so that should be an easy thing. She wants to keep her life kind of the way it is. And so she looks into the future to see which would be the best outcome, and she sees that neither is going to be a very good outcome. And she has to decide which reality she's okay with living through and who she really can't live without. And I thought this sounded really interesting, and it sounded very different from the other Casey West books that I've seen so far. And this was $4.29 as well. Okay, next up is The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. And this says, Ryan has one unread text message on her phone, and it's been there for almost a year. She hasn't tried to read it. She can't. She won't. Because that one message is the last thing her best friend ever said to her before she died. But as Ryan finds herself trapped in the Denver International Airport on New Year's Eve, thanks to a never-ending blizzard on the 1-year anniversary of her best friend's death, fate literally runs into her. And his name is Xander. When the two accidentally swap phones, Ryan and Xander are thrust into the chaos of an unforgettable all-night adventure filled with charming and mysterious strangers, a secret New Year's Eve bash, and a possible Illuminati conspiracy hidden within the airport. But as the bizarre night continues, all Ryan can think about is that one unread text message. It follows her wherever she goes because Ryan can't get her brilliantly wild and free-spirited best friend out of her head. Ryan can't move on. But tonight, for the first time ever, she's trying. And maybe that's a start. As moving as it is funny, The Chaos of Standing Still is a heartwarming story about the earth-shattering challenges life throws at us and the unexpected strangers who help us along the way. And I thought this sounded really nice and sweet and emotional, but also I liked it because, one, there was a character named Xander, and two, there's this whole Illuminati thing, and that's another thing that Xander's really big into, so yeah. I got a kick out of it. And it is this blue with this nice white font. Isn't that cute? And this was $5.89. And then last but not least, this was kind of a book that I got for myself to read, but I know Xander also wants to read it. And this is definitely an out of my comfort zone kind of book, but I thought I'd try it out. And that is Fairy Tale by Hiro Mashima. This is volume 1. And this is a manga, which means instead of opening like this, like a normal book, and reading it like this, instead you go back here and read it the other direction, which for me is very awkward and uncomfortable, but I'm gonna try it at least once. And I don't really know anything about this except that it's like a manga and it said fairy tale, so I thought this might be a good one for me because I like fairy tale retellings. So that's why I got it. This says, The Wicked Side of Wizardry. Cute girl wizard Lucy wants to join the fairy tale, a club for the most powerful wizards. But instead, her ambitions land her in the clutches of a gang of unsavory pirates led by a devious magician. Her only hope is Natsu, a strange boy she happens to meet on her travels. Natsu's not your typical hero. He gets motion sickness, eats like a pig, and his best friend is a talking cat. With friends like this, is Lucy better off with her enemies? It includes special extras after the story. I mean, it sounds cute, but I don't know. We'll see. I know Xander was super excited that I got it. And this was $5.39. So to sum up everything I got in this box, I bought 9 books. And the subtotal for those 9 books was $40.21. I used one of my $5 off coupons, and that brought it down to $35.21. and I used $20 in rewards, so that brought it down to $15.21. So I got all 9 books for $15.21, which means I spent about $1.69 per book. So not too shabby. Ugh. All of these for 15 bucks. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time,